Greetings, Movieland. I'm the hostess with the mostest, Cinema Callie, and that is right, I am back, and with a fun new series for you for the month of February in celebration of One Love releasing in theaters next week as of this recording. And this is a musical biopic on Bob Marley. Big fan of Bob Marley's music. He was big for reggae, and we are finally getting a biopic on him. And honestly, I can't believe that it's taken this long for a Bob Marley movie to come out. And I am so excited because obviously I love movies. Movies are my number one passion, but another passion of mine is music. I am a huge music fan. And so I thought, what couldn't be better to celebrate something that I am excited for, to see, and to review for you all, that I make Music Month. And so each week, every Friday, I will have a video out that will be reviewing one musical biopic each week. So obviously the first week will be Straight Outta Compton. And then second week will be the One Love Bob Marley movie. And week 3 will be The Doors. Very excited for that one. And then week 4 will be Walk the Line, the Johnny Cash movie. So I am very excited for all 4 of those. I have only seen The Doors. That is the only one of the 4 that I have not seen. And it has been a long time since I've seen it. And I also thought it would be a good excuse for me to listen to some Doors that week. So, can't go wrong with that. But without further ado, let us get to the main treat today. And that is Straight Outta Compton. That is right, the movie about NWA. And specifically, the film focuses on the main 3 of Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, and Ice Cube. And right off the bat, I just want to say that O'Shea Jackson Jr. is Ice Cube's son. And he plays him in the film. And it is unreal, the resemblance he has to his dad. Especially when he's got the Raiders gear on, and he's got the hat, and he has that long curly hair look, and it's really crazy how much he looked like Ice Cube. It's nuts. There is Corey Hawkins, who is Dr. Dre, and I really liked him. His performance wasn't super standing out, and that could be that just because it could be that Dre isn't really a super loud personality except for when he's making his music. And so that could be what's going on there. But also, I really want to say that Jason Mitchell as Eazy-E, man, was I really impressed with his performance as well as O'Shea Jackson. I mean, my God. Eazy-E, especially when we have the ending, he was really good in this. And he again sounded like him. Like, I gotta say, the casting of this movie was really on point, and not just because of Ice Cube, but for the other cast as well. I mean, they did a really good job on the casting, and I would say that is probably the second favorite part of the film. But my first favorite part is obviously the music. I mean, they hit what they needed to hit, and we get to hear, of course, the Straight Outta Compton, F the Police, all the hits. I mean, you get all the hits here and then some. And then I also saw that Dre and Cube also helped with a lot of the music for the film as well. And after seeing that, I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. And outside of NWA, we get a lot of other just classic songs throughout this as well, and we get little cameos here and there. I mean, we get a Snoop Dogg cameo at some point, and then we get to see him and Dre making Ain't Nothing But a G Thing. Like, I don't know, I was really giddy because I am not what you would think of at all for rap, as a fan of rap, at all. But I adore the genre. I have been a fan of it since the late 90s. Eminem was the one that got me into the genre, and then I haven't stopped since. I mean, as he says in one of his songs, I mean, kids start eating up these albums like Valiums. I mean, I love it. I love the genre. So it was cool seeing that. And then you also get a little Tupac cameo in there as well. And then, of course, we get to see Death Row Records. And for those of you who don't know, Death Row Records is the ran by Suge Knight and for a little bit Dr. Dre. And so we get to see a little bit of that drama. But going into the narrative now, speaking of, that was probably where I had the most problems with the film. It was shot really well. It did look really good, and I would also say the lighting in particular for some of those shots looked really good. The ones I was probably the most impressed with shot-wise was the shots we got at Death Row Records. I really liked the way that it was lit up and the use of color throughout a lot of the shots, and how much the t-shirts just pop on screen. And some of them, if you're in the know and you know the history, some of the colors are linked to specific stuff. But I'm not getting into any of that on here. I'm just here for the movie and the music. But besides all of that stuff, just the colors was really cool, and a lot of the shots, it really helped the characters pop on screen and make them look really good. So anyway, the narrative, I kind of struggled with it a little bit because this is one of those biopics that you kind of have to know the story going into it. I would be really curious to see or to speak to somebody who doesn't know the story of NWA and what their reaction would be to it. I feel like especially the latter part of the film would probably be very lost as to what is going on, because there starts becoming so many characters coming on screen, and there's a lot of money talk and business talk in this, and that was a big focus of the film, was the business side of music and how people can really screw each other over with this. And that's good and all, but I do feel like it focused on that a little too much. Like, it really focused on weird things. It focused too much on the business stuff, I felt like. And also, I'm just, spoilers ahead. So, yeah, spoilers ahead. But when Cube leaves the group, he just disappears from the movie for a while, and we just get little snapshots of what he's up to. I mean, it was really cool, but again, you kind of have to know your history, but the movie does this a little bit better. But Cube, when he leaves NWA, he started a solo career, a very successful solo career, like almost right off the bat. And he had a very famous diss track that was towards NWA. And so we get to see that, and I thought that was actually pretty cool. And it was fun. And then we get to see the reaction of the other members of the group and what they think of it and all that. So I thought that was kind of a fun little saying. And we get to hear, as we're listening to the song, we're seeing each of their reactions in real time. And I thought that was actually put together pretty well. And a fun little scene, because that was when rap started becoming like fighting, where guys are doing diss tracks on each other, and this was obviously one of the most famous ones at the time. And so it was cool seeing that, and then we get a little touch of Dre over at Death Row. Snoop Dogg shows up, we get a little cameo by Pac, and so it's cool. But like I said, like once NWA disbands, the film kind of loses its focus, I think. And I get what they were trying to do, and luckily the film is a long film. It could have been longer. It probably could have been a lot longer. I mean, you could make a whole probably docu-series or TV show or whatever on Death Row Records by itself and have tons to talk about with that. So I cut them a little slack there just because there was a lot going on with these people in this time. And I mean, there was a lot of movement in this genre at that time because these guys really elevated it. And so we get to see that. And the other thing that we also get to see is that there's the controversy because they famously were starting to fight censorship because a lot of their songs were, people would argue that they were about violence and that they were promoting recreational activities. And so that was the big argument, is that no, you shouldn't be singing these songs while on tour, and frankly you should stop making songs like this. And so we get a little bit of that, but it's more just kind of like, I think they're laughing at it and the movie's laughing at it. And I mean, it is funny. I mean, especially looking back, like, it is funny and it's also ridiculous. It's freedom of speech. And a great line from the film is that they're talking about, well, is it okay to censor and stuff? And then it was Dre that said that, you know, we start telling the truth, or a little bit of the truth, and people start trying to censor us and push us down. And so it was cool seeing that. But overall, it was a pretty good movie. I really liked it. It was good. Got really good soundtrack. Got some really good acting. But honestly, it wasn't anything that I was super wowed about. And that might have just been because my expectations were pretty high for it, and because I have missed this over the years. And I know it's ridiculous because I say I'm such a fan of the genre, but it was pretty good. And it's a good story. I mean, they definitely take some liberties. It is a biopic, so that is part of the territory, but I feel it's always fun when you watch films like this to always kind of look into the actual story and see what people actually said and all that. But yeah, so as a film, Straight Outta Compton was excellent, and I would recommend, if you are a fan of the genre, to at least see this once. I do think it is at least worth one viewing. And if you aren't a fan of the genre, I feel like results will really vary for you. So yeah. But that's all I got for you today. Real quick, my rating for Straight Outta Compton would be a 7 out of 10. And so with that, everybody, I will see you for week 2 of Music Week, where we talk about Bob Marley. And until then, I'll see you suckers later, 'cause I'm straight outta Compton.